headed back to the house. I've actually already been there once today. Took some stuff to a donation center. If you haven't seen much of me before, I was in the middle of a divorce. I left in September of 2024, but he passed away last month. And since we weren't legally divorced, we were still legally married. And since he didn't have a will or anything, I am still next to kin. And my name is also on the deed. So I own the property and I'm trying to get things cleaned up. The interesting thing last week, luckily I had some friends there with me. A guy showed up that was a friend of my husband, ex-husband, whatever you want to call him. And I knew his name because Colton had talked about him, but I didn't know him. I'd never met him. And he showed up and was telling me how much he missed him and stuff. And then he asked if he could have a memento or something of Colton's, an item of Colton's. And I was like, well, what do you want? And he starts naming a couple things. And then he talked about a couple vehicles, and I'm like, no, that's going here. This is dealing with that. You could have this thing on the wall. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And then he is telling me about how there's a lot of them, and if I need help with anything, they have trucks, and you know, they can always help me. And it was weird. He's met my daughter. He and Colton were similar, I guess, in the addiction field. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of why I'm telling people they need to really clean up their act. You know, if this doesn't teach them, they need to get their life together. And he was saying, you know, Colton he really loved you. And I was like, well, I'm sure he did, but yeah, some of those other girls were, yeah. And he also told me about a night that he had to come over because Colton had a gun to his head. And I know he had some desperate moments, and I have too, but my friends and it's really hard because it's almost like he did it for more attention than intention. And it's just really hard. And is that a thing where these random friends show up wanting mementos from deceased people? Like, is it? That just seems so weird.